Welcome to the new IT. We're here to talk about the new IT, stuff going on in IT, staffing, you name it, everything out there that goes with IT stuff. Right, Brad?
That's absolutely right.
IT, what are we talking about today exactly?
Today we're going to talk about being overqualified and what that means.
The big overqualified question. I'm going to start off right off the bat saying I think that's bullcrap.
You know,
There's no such
have to
thing
agree.
as being overqualified.
I agree. I mean, I don't think there is no such thing, but there are certain instances where some companies feel that some candidates can be overqualified.
I just believe that's a hiring person that's intimidated that somebody's going to steal their job. That's where I'm coming from.
Agreed. And I, like I said, I mean, I 100% agree with you on this because some people, I think it's an inferiority complex where some people think that they have to be worried about their job.
I think so too. Well, let's just start off. What the crap does that mean to you, Brad? What does it mean to be overqualified? You seeing in the work world, in the IT industry, what does overqualified mean to clients?
To clients, I think it means that somebody is too good for their position and they might get bored with what they're doing. So they look at it and say, well, yes, this candidate does have everything that we're looking for, but maybe we should consider somebody else because he's going to get bored doing the work here. So maybe we need to look
jump
at other
around.
candidates.
I mean, can't you look at their history and see if they jump around all the time,
absolutely.
job to job?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's different qualifications. So, I mean, obviously somebody's work history, understanding, what they're about, getting to talk to them, getting to interview them, getting to know exactly what this person is about is going to make that determination for you.
Can I just ask, why would somebody that's overqualified put in for a job that they're overqualified for? Why would I do that?
I mean, there could be a number of reasons. I mean, I think at the end of the day, that just comes to personal reasons. For instance, like I had a candidate who submitted their application to this job. He had 26 years of IT experience, has been with his current company for 13 plus years.
Unheard of in the IT world. You're not with a company 13 years.
No, you're really not. So good work history, hit every checkbox that this company was looking for. But they didn't want to take him through the interview process because they thought that he was overqualified because he was coming from a position where he was overseeing way more locations, and he just thought that he would be bored.
They didn't even give him an interview?
They didn't, believe it or not.
This is somebody that has all of the checkbox and more checked on their job.
Yep.
And they wouldn't even interview him.
Nope.
That makes no sense to me.
And it didn't to me either. I mean, I went to bat for this candidate. I've tried, talking to the hiring manager. I've tried talking to their teams, and they just won't budge.
That is crazy. It sounds to me like somebody's worried about their job.
And that's the only thing that I can kind of come to the conclusion of. But again, I mean, I don't know. I'm not in that hiring manager.
If I was upper management, I would be worried about that person if they're that worried about their job.
Agreed. I mean, in that same thought process, who knows what this candidate can bring to the table? What if he brings a new perspective?
Huge.
In this instance, this candidate, he was overseeing three different teams in 3 different time zones. He was burned out. He was done. He didn't want to do that anymore. So he was just looking for something to where he could spend more time with the family and be home more and not have to worry about working and being so stressed out. So I get it.
I do. Yeah. I mean, that kind of answers my question of why would somebody do that? They've been there, they've done it all, and maybe usually when you're a unicorn like that and you know how to do, you're the workhorse.
You are.
They give you, they pile it on you, and I can't imagine being at a company 13 years. You would have to be almost the linchpin for the technology in that company, being there that long. I mean, you would have to that in IT, as long as I've been, there's so much stress connected with technology. It's always IT's fault. We all know that. If something goes wrong in the company, it's IT's fault.
It's always IT.
And to say, hey, I want to go somewhere where it's a little more mellow and I will take even a pay cut because I've been doing this a long time and I'm smart with my money, that guy sounds like the perfect human being to hire. I mean, grab that person up.
Agreed. And that's the whole argument that I was trying to make, is just say, hey, you know what? You have somebody who is going to be loyal. He's proven that he's loyal. He's going to be here for you no matter what. And he doesn't. He's been in the enterprise world. He doesn't want that anymore.
If you ask me, what does overqualified mean in this aspect? Yeah. I think it means. I think it's bullcrap. I'm sorry. I just do. I truly, if you look at, and we're going to talk about this a little bit later, how it connects with me and stuff, and I've got my own stories, but I still believe that it's bullcrap. And if you're worried about somebody, it's IT. People leave all the time. You're really worried about them getting bored and leaving. You know how often IT jumps ship?
Exactly.
And they go to the next good job? This person is telling you, I'm done doing that. I just want to mellow out, and you won't even give them an interview? That's nuts.
Yeah, I was baffled, but it is what it is. I mean, at the end of the day, the client controls who they want to interview. So
how
we just
often
have to suck it up.
Do you get this overqualified thing?
Believe it or not, it does happen more frequently than people think. I would say I probably run into this maybe once every couple months. So I mean, not alarming, but enough to be able to have a topic about it. Enough for us to be able to elaborate on them a little bit more. So yeah,
I'm interested. I do a lot of sending out resumes, not because I'm looking for a job. I mean, I've been in IT 20 years. I've owned my own company for 15, and I put out interviews, or not interviews. I put out resumes all the time, just to see what's out there, because it's interesting to me. Mm-hmm. And I read, IT director, VP of IT. I put out for all those jobs just to see. I almost never get anything back, and it doesn't matter because I'm not. My resume is pretty interesting. Owner of a company, blah blah blah. It's not as IT relatable, but I do find it interesting that they throw the kitchen sink in there of what they want. You're looking for a superhero. How do you get overqualified when you're looking for Superman or Superwoman? You're legitimately. I read the stuff that they want, and it's like, this is our company. We do this, and then they have this 40 paragraphs of what they expect you to have known, touched, felt, seen in the world. How can anybody be overqualified? I'm confused.
I always look at that as they don't want an IT person. They want an IT team. They want that one person to fulfill 3, 4, 5 jobs. Yeah. And it baffles me. So I always try, when I get those, I always try to set realistic expectations for the clients to say, hey, look, you realize that you're looking for 5 different jobs here. What do you really want? What are your needs? What are you looking to fill?
Do you get them to hone down on that?
I do. It
get them to understand that?
It can take some convincing, but yeah, we do.
But then they come back to you and go, well, this person's overqualified. Dude, I couldn't do your job. I'm just going to tell you right now. Dealing with me would suck. I would not want to do it.
There's a lot of hand-holding, but it is definitely, it's rewarding, believe it or not.
Oh, that's cool. Good. Dude, I'm sorry. I've been going off on this. So
you're totally fine. I get it. So, it's a very interesting topic.
I think to everybody, this is a, you've told me, you've done some stuff on LinkedIn and you've kind of had a bunch of back and forth. You've kind of talked about this question on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And you've gotten a lot of people are kind of, they got opinions about it.
Oh, they do.
And I do too. I just think it's interesting that we're still in a space where overqualified is a thing. And it is.
Yeah, it really is. And I'm baffled.
You see it. Yes.
You do. And like I said, believe it or not, it does happen. Whether that be, this may be a little bit of a gray area, but I think worth is in the eye of the beholder, meaning that whoever's looking and reviewing these resumes, they're the ones who actually say yes or no. So if somebody has a bad day, then you never know what they're going to say yes to or what they're going to say no to. So it's really again, this is kind of a biased opinion, but sometimes it can get into a little bit gray area where, because somebody may look good on paper and look overqualified, until you talk to them, until you interview them, you may not know what their reasons are or what they want to do or where they want to go. So
that's what baffles me about your situation is they wouldn't even do an interview. That makes zero sense. I understand if there's red flags and you're wondering, but I would want to know, man, this could be the person that we need, and you can find that out just by talking to them.
Well, and quite honestly, that's the whole issue that I'm having with the issue is I just wanted them to interview them, because if they actually had a chance to talk to them, they would understand and they would know this. Even though I've already reciprocated that to them, even though I've already had those conversations with them, it's totally different when you can talk to somebody.
I am dumbfounded.
Yeah, it is.
I wish. Well, no, I'm not going to go there. I was going to say, who is this? Who are these crazy people? I know we. I know you can't do that. But I'm just like, stay away from that business. No. Anyway, sorry.
Anyways,
yeah. All right. So is this really a problem?
It is.
I want to know. This is really a problem, this overqualified thing?
I think it can be. I mean, I think right now we're in a time where people want to educate themselves and people want to continue down that path of making sure that they can provide value to a company. So people are getting extra certifications. People are going to school longer. People are doing more to better themselves, and they want to promote that. So what's actually happening is they're excited to share their experiences and everything that they're doing, but as it turns out, it's starting to backfire on them.
I find it interesting too, because I think there's two overqualifieds here. There's education overqualified, and then there's experience overqualified.
Absolutely.
An education overqualified will get you in trouble. I've had that.
Yeah.
I've had that situation happen to me where I got excited about somebody with a whole lot of education and ended up being a really bad employee.
Let's dive into that. Help me understand that one a little bit more.
So when we started talking about this topic of overqualified, I immediately thought of a situation where I did some hiring and I was really excited about the candidate because I firmly believe there's no such thing as overqualified, except that it a little bit bit me in the butt.
How so?
So this person looked like the perfect, they had all of the education and everything. I mean, they just looked perfect on paper. This is more education than most of the people that I hired in this position. So I was like, wow, this is like the golden goose. He was more mature, experienced, I thought. I was just really excited. I did some interviews with him. He seemed pretty good and ended up being a very... he just wasn't good with people.
Okay.
He wasn't good with the clients. I even had to take him away from clients because they complained. And he was like, well, why are you doing this to me? And I'm like, dude, it's either me take you away from the client or the client takes us away from them. And, what am I supposed to do with that?
Yeah, exactly.
What am I supposed to do?
You can't lose a client over
I can't.
Over this guy.
I can't. And he, because his personality he didn't even understand what I was saying. And I'm like, wow, this is a person that I thought was like my golden goose because he had so much
experience.
Well, and that was the thing. See, he had a lot of education.
Oh, okay.
He had a lot of education, but he was older and he was doing a pivot. He had been in management and marketing. So another thing, he was in management. So I'm like, wow, this guy will be good with people. So I was really excited about that. And no.
So is that what made you consider him to begin with? Is just his managerial experience?
Yeah, I thought, wow, this guy is just on paper is amazing. He's going to take it to the next level for me.
He's going to help your company grow.
Yeah. I'm going to put him in bigger positions. He's going to grow in the company really quickly. And that was not the case.
That's interesting.
I got excited. So in my experience, it wasn't that person was overqualified. It was that I kind of saw, I was excited about something that truly actually wasn't there. And that's on me for the hiring process. So, I did not do my due diligence.
So you were you saw value in this person from a candidate standpoint of where he can grow with you as a company. So you were thinking you could kind of groom him and make him into something.
That's exactly what I was thinking. And that was not the case. And I think I got blinders on with his resume.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that's a realistic expectation to have. I mean, people, like I said, I mean, like I was referring to earlier, I believe that people, if somebody has a bad day or somebody's, in a different frame of mind, sometimes they may consider candidates that they might not have. Maybe they disqualify candidates that should be considered. But again, I mean, I think sometimes we do have blinders on.
Yeah, and that's what happened to me. And since then, I take a lot more time to learn, to grow with that person before I actually hire them, to really feel that they're a fit with the culture, that they're a fit with, that my clients will like them. I have to do that. If I want to keep in business, I have to have techs that will work well with people.
Absolutely.
We've talked about soft skills on here. Guys, to me, one of the absolute most important pieces, people will say, you've done, I know we've done, what do you call it, where they talk about percentages of what matters.
Like surveys and
yeah,
things like
surveys, and the percentage is the highest percentage, the technology. You've got to know technology, and I don't agree with that. I can teach anybody anything if they're smart.
Oh, I agree.
If they're open to learn about the technology, but I can't teach them how to be a super decent human being.
So what do you look for when you hire? So I think there's three things that people kind of look for when they hire. I think it's ambition, technical skills, and ability to be adaptable, which is kind of ties into
interpersonal.
Yes, interpersonal.
Yeah, the ability to run with the flow, go with the flow, not run with the flow. I guess run with the flow works.
So let me ask you this: what would out of those three issues, what do you think is the highest priority?
Say them again.
Ambition.
They're wanting. So let's explain. Let's talk about them for a second. Then I'll tell you. Ambition is they're really excited about the job. They want to do more. They want to be the best employee that they can be. Right. That's
exactly.
ambition.
That's
is that
ambition.
what you mean when you say ambition? Okay.
Soft skills is number 2.
Soft skills meaning communication, being able to talk to people and being connected with people. Yeah.
And then lastly, it's technical background.
For me, I really want to see those soft skills and their passion. And probably if I see that they're excited, I've hired guys and people, and they've like, I want to do this a few years, and then I'm going to go do this and that. I'm like, dude, why would I want to hire a person that is their interim thing to do?
Exactly.
I get those folks that are passionate, super excited about getting on a ground level in tech so that they can move up and do because they have so much passion for it. Man, I love when I get a hold of those guys. I love it. And they do. They still leave in a couple years because that's the kind of technology, that's IT is we kind of jump around. That's how it works. You move to the next level and you go to the next thing. And anybody that doesn't understand that isn't been around tech very long.
Yeah. But I mean, there's still room for growth if they have that opportunity with you, though. So you're still fostering that,
which I love. Yeah, one of my guys has been with me for forever in IT. It's a long time, like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I get you. That's cool.
But and he's he's the bomb, and he'll keep going up.
That's good. That's really good. So back to overqualified. Does if I were to tell you that somebody were to be too old, would you consider that being overqualified? I mean, I know this is kind of a gray area, but what do you think?
Oh, this is tough. We're bringing up the old word.
We are.
This is hard because.
So I guess the better question would be, would you consider somebody who is older, or would you consider them overqualified?
Just because they're older?
Just because they're older.
No, absolutely not. I know that we kind of look at older as more wise and that, and I would never be opposed to hiring somebody older. In that situation, this person was older, and it bit me in the butt, but it wasn't because he was older.
Well, I think it was because he was doing a pivot.
Yeah, he was doing a pivot, and I'll tell you right now, he's in a job he loves. I did not end up firing him. I had to take him away from stuff, and I sat down with him a lot. I just believe in really caring about my employees.
Oh, absolutely.
So it wasn't, even though it didn't really work, it ended up working great. I gave him I helped him get another job that he actually fit really well in, and he's there still to this day. This has been like 6 years.
Wow, that's awesome.
And he's rocking it because he found the right place for him. Mm-hmm. So where am I going with that? What was the point? Oh, because he's old. It wasn't because he was old. It had nothing to do with it. For me, I tend to hire younger people only because I actually want less tech experience because
Why is that?
because I want to teach them my way. In the IT world, we kind of we get tech blinders. Every tech or every admin, we all kind of think we're the smartest person in the room. That's just kind of how it kind of works out.
Okay.
I mean, there's certain things I think I'm smart at, but for the most part, I don't know where am I going with this other than I want to get them before they've made that determination that this is how it has to be done.
So people that aren't necessarily set in their ways. You want somebody who's a little bit more
set
ambitious.
In their ways. I hope that's not going back to older because that's not where I want to go with this. Even though I think in the industry, in the world, unfortunately, how do you feel about hires or not hires, clients that are looking for hires? Do you see that? I know they can't say that. Right.
No, I mean,
but do you see that in the world? I mean, this is not us. This is, clients and stuff. How do you see, do they not hire or do they look at that as overqualified?
I think it really just depends on the client's needs. I do have some clients that they prefer older candidates because they ask for a lot of experience. So it just kind of depends. I mean, well, let's figure out what the definition of old is. I mean, are we talking IT? Somebody who's
24?
Been in the industry, 20
that's
to 24. Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for that, that's once you hit 25, you're old in IT. So
I'm over 50, so that's to me that I think that's old.
So are you the geezer in this scenario?
Maybe. I'm probably the geezer. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm the geezer.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just honestly depends, but I think the way I look at it is I think clients are looking for whoever can help them no matter what age they are. However, we do kind of run into this where it's not necessarily people are too old. They can just be overqualified.
You think that those are the two? They just kind of run hand in hand. The fact is, the longer you're in this industry, the more qualified you are for things, the older you get. It's just that simple.
Exactly.
Which brings me back to bullcrap on people being overqualified. I just think it's ridiculous. With that said, what advice would you give somebody that is overqualified as a hiring person? What advice would you give them?
The best thing I can say is don't ever stop working on you. If there's certain aspirations that you want to do and want to grow with, grow that. Don't worry about it, but make sure that you express those interests as you go through the interview process and get to know the company and get to know why you can be shown as an added value to them, because that's ultimately at the end of the day what companies are looking for. They want people who can provide value.
What about loyalty?
Oh, absolutely. Loyalty.
Does that matter still?
Value and loyalty.
Loyalty still matters.
It does.
Do they still ask that question? Are you committed to this? Will you be committed to this company? Are you going to be here for a year? Do they still ask that question?
It's got to go both
because it
ways.
Seems like, that's my problem. There's so many companies that let people go all the time, and it doesn't seem like loyalty matters.
No, it does.
It does. Okay.
I mean, through
you see it, so that's good.
Through the power of social media, companies are having to change and adapt more now.
They're held a little more accountable, aren't they?
They are, and that's exactly it. They are held a lot more accountable. So the larger organizations are obviously leading the front with this, but they're more worried about making sure that they have a good presence and making sure that their brand is the way they want it to be. So you're going to see a lot more of that. And not only that, you're starting to see company culture shift to where it's more inclusive, and they want to make sure that they're taking care of their employees, and they want them to last, and they want them to be there for a long time.
Yeah. I love it. Wow, this has been a good discussion, don't you think?
Absolutely.
I felt good about it. I kind of got some things off my chest.
Yeah.
I think it's bullcrap. Personally, that there's no such thing truly as overqualified. There's just a bad employee or a bad hire. I really don't believe that we can say, oh, well, you just know too much. Whoops. Wow, I'm smacking stuff now.
Getting a little excited there, huh?
You just know too much, so you will suck for our company. How can we think that? Brad, how can that be a thing?
It's not. It's really not. I think that again, it's in the eye of the beholder, and I think maybe the hiring manager might be worried about his position.
I can't think of much more, especially going back to your example of not even giving the person an interview.
Yeah, and quite honestly, that's pretty rare.
That's negligence, in my opinion.
I agree.
Poor company.
I agree.
I feel bad. Of course, that's probably the culture that's been set up. And I mean, that's how companies make people like that, is the culture that they set up, that it's dog eat dog or whatever.
And not to bash the company. It may not even be this company. It may be coming.
We're talking
from
about that magical company out there that sucks.
It could be the hiring manager himself. I mean, maybe he's had bad past experiences. Maybe this is just what he's been in the industry long enough to know and experience.
Yeah.
So maybe that's just his interpretation.
I love how positive you are, Brad. You always see the good in people. That's good.
That's what I do.
I love it. Wow, this has been great. Any last words? What do you think? I kind of gave my whole spiel. I just don't.
I think I did too. I mean, I think we hit on everything we wanted to talk about, and we got our points across. So
my last words is, if you're out there looking for a job, and you've been in the industry a long time and you have a lot of experience, just tell them, this is why I'm doing that. I think that's the key. That's
the takeaway.
That you need to tell them why you want to be with them. It's just like you would, when you have no qualifications.
Exactly.
But you want to tell them, this is why you get to hire me. And don't just go on your qualifications alone. I think that could probably hurt you more than anything.
Absolutely.
Saying, hey, I'm overqualified for this job. You freaking should hire me.
Well, it's understanding and knowing what it is you can provide to the company, but understanding what the company needs are.
Yes.
You need to do your homework as a candidate and understand what exactly the company's mission is, where they're going, where they want to go, and be able to find yourself and see if that's a perfect match.
When it comes down to it, shouldn't every candidate do that? Overqualified, underqualified, anything. They should do their due diligence. I see that all the time. People they send out their resume and it's this not blockchain. Where am I? Cryptocurrency. It's on my mind. Hey, it went up. It went down.
That's good.
Is it just this spit out letter to everybody? I hate that, man. When I get a job posting and I can tell I'm just spitting this out to everybody I can possibly find. Guys, take a couple seconds to actually connect your resume to the company.
Yeah,
and
take 5-10 minutes, understand, know the company, research them, look them up on their website, get to know their mission and their values, and see if that's a fit for you.
Yep.
If it is a fit for you, then apply, and then make sure that your resume is tailored to that specific company.
And just to put a pitch in for you, that is kind of, I think, where you come in.
Absolutely.
To shine them, to get them above the crowd. If guys really, I mean, let's face it, spitting out resumes is not the best way to get a job.
No, I mean, it's
finding somebody that can hold your hand and get you to the right place you want to be. I mean, that's your whole world.
Absolutely, and that's what we do. I mean, companies and larger organizations, they can get inundated with resumes. So you need someone to help you.
How do you get above all that junk?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
You need somebody to help you.
You do.
That's cool. And that's where you come in.
I
think that's a perfect way to end it, don't you think?
It is.
Okay, folks, thank you for being a part of the new IT. We will see you next time when we talk about the new IT.